Article 406.9 of the 2005 National Electrical Code, or NEC, mandates ground fault circuit interrupter, or GFCI, protection for all 120-volt single-phase, 15 and 20 ampere receptacles in garages, irrespective of whether they are situated in wet or dry locations. Article 406.9b2 stipulates that receptacles in wet locations, such as outdoors or in bathrooms, must be safeguarded by GFCIs or in-use covers and weatherproof enclosures. Drawing from the aforementioned NEC stipulations, receptacles in a residential garage necessitate GFCI protection, which is universally mandated for all receptacles, irrespective of the location. In-use covers or weatherproof enclosures are required only if the receptacles are situated in a wet location. In the majority of instances, garages are not categorized as wet locations, thereby negating the necessity for in-use covers in conjunction with GFCI protection. Nonetheless, should the garage exhibit exceptional dampness or wetness, the implementation of in-use covers may be imperative to adhere to the NEC mandates for wet locations. Let's delve deeper into understanding these requirements. GFCI protection is primarily intended to safeguard individuals from electrical shock. It functions by monitoring the current flowing to and from an appliance or device. If there is an imbalance, indicating that current is leaking to ground, the GFCI rapidly cuts off the power, mitigating the risk of a potentially fatal shock. This is especially crucial in locations where moisture is prevalent, such as garages, as water significantly elevates the likelihood of electrical shock. In-use covers, conversely, are designed to shield receptacles from environmental elements such as rain, snow, and debris. These covers are constructed to maintain a weatherproof seal even when an appliance or device is plugged into the receptacle. This safeguards the electrical connections from corrosion and prevents water from entering the electrical system, which could lead to short circuits or equipment damage. The NEC defines a wet location as an area that is subject to saturation with water or other liquids. This encompasses areas that are directly exposed to the elements, such as open porches, patios, and unfinished basements. It can also include interior locations where water may accumulate, such as bathrooms and laundry rooms. In the context of garages, the determination of whether it constitutes a wet location hinges on the extent to which it is exposed to moisture. If the garage is adequately sealed and shielded from the elements, it is generally not deemed a wet location. However, if the garage is prone to water intrusion due to leaks, flooding, or inadequate ventilation, it may be classified as a wet location, thereby necessitating the utilization of in-use covers. To ascertain whether your garage necessitates in-use covers, it is advisable to conduct a comprehensive assessment of its susceptibility to moisture. Inspect the walls, floor, and ceiling for any indications of water damage, such as stains, mold, or mildew. Evaluate the effectiveness of the garage door seal and the presence of any gaps or cracks that may permit water to enter. Additionally, take into consideration the local climate and the likelihood of heavy rainfall or snowfall. If you harbor any reservations regarding the wetness of your garage, it is prudent to err on the side of caution and install in-use covers. These covers are relatively inexpensive and easy to install, and they offer an extra layer of protection against electrical hazards. It is crucial to acknowledge that the NEC is a comprehensive set of regulations, and its interpretation can occasionally be intricate. If you are unsure about the specific requirements for your garage, it is always advisable to consult with a licensed electrician. A qualified electrician can assess your garage and provide tailored guidance on how to comply with the NEC. Furthermore, it is imperative to remain abreast of any revisions or updates to the NEC. The NEC is typically updated every 3 years, and these updates may introduce new requirements or modify existing ones. By staying informed, you can ensure that your garage electrical system remains compliant with the latest safety standards. Now let's explore some practical scenarios to illustrate the application of these NEC requirements. Firstly, consider a typical residential garage that is attached to the house and has a concrete floor, insulated walls, and a tightly sealed garage door. In this scenario, the garage is generally not considered a wet location. Therefore, While GFCI protection is mandatory for all 120-volt, 15 and 20 ampere receptacles, in-use covers are not typically required. Secondly, imagine a detached garage that is located in an area prone to heavy rainfall and flooding. The garage has a gravel floor, uninsulated walls, and a leaky garage door. In this case, the garage is likely to be classified as a wet location. Consequently, both GFCI protection and in-use covers are necessary for all receptacles. Thirdly, let's examine a garage that is used as a workshop. The garage is well insulated and has a concrete floor, but it is frequently subjected to water spray from cleaning activities or from projects involving liquids. In this situation, it may be prudent to install in-use covers, even though the garage is not technically considered a wet location. The covers would provide an extra layer of protection against accidental water exposure. It is also worth noting that some local jurisdictions may have more stringent electrical codes than the NEC. These local codes may impose additional requirements for GFCI protection or in-use covers. Therefore, it is always advisable to check with your local building department to ensure that you are complying with all applicable regulations. Furthermore, remember that the NEC is a minimum safety standard. You may choose to exceed the NEC requirements to enhance the safety of your electrical system. For instance, you could opt to install GFCI protection for all receptacles in your home, even those that are not specifically mandated by the NEC. Similarly, you could install and use covers for all outdoor receptacles, regardless of whether they are located in wet locations. In conclusion, the NEC mandates GFCI protection for all 120-volt, single-phase, 15 and 20 ampere receptacles in garages. In-use covers are required only if the receptacles are located in a wet location. To determine whether your garage constitutes a wet location, assess its susceptibility to moisture and consult with a licensed electrician if necessary. Always prioritize safety and comply with all applicable electrical codes to protect yourself and your family from electrical hazards. Let's discuss some of the specific types of in-use covers available and their features. Firstly, there are horizontal in-use covers. These covers are designed to be used with receptacles that are mounted horizontally. They typically have a hinged lid that flips open to allow access to the receptacle. Horizontal in-use covers are often used for general-purpose receptacles in garages and other locations where horizontal mounting is common. Secondly, we have vertical in-use covers. These are designed for receptacles that are mounted vertically. They also feature a hinged lid that flips open for access. Vertical in-use covers are commonly used for receptacles that are installed on posts or walls where vertical mounting is preferred. Thirdly, universal in-use covers are available. These covers are designed to fit both horizontal and vertical receptacles. They typically have adjustable features that allow them to be configured for either mounting orientation. Universal in-use covers offer flexibility and convenience, as they can be used in a variety of applications. In terms of materials, in-use covers are typically made of durable plastics or metals that are resistant to weather and impact. Plastic covers are often made of polycarbonate or high-density polyethylene, which offer good UV resistance and durability. Metal covers are typically made of aluminum or stainless steel, which provide excellent strength and corrosion resistance. When selecting in-use covers, it is important to ensure that they are properly sized for the receptacles they will be used with. The cover should completely enclose the receptacle and provide a tight seal to prevent moisture from entering. It is also important to choose covers that are listed and labeled by a recognized testing laboratory such as Underwriters Laboratories, or ALL. This ensures that the covers have been tested and meet applicable safety standards. Furthermore, consider the ease of installation when selecting in-use covers. Some covers are designed for easy snap-on installation, while others may require more involved mounting procedures. Choose covers that are easy to install and that will provide a secure and reliable seal. Finally, remember to inspect in-use covers regularly for any signs of damage or wear. Replace any covers that are cracked, broken, or otherwise damaged. Proper maintenance will ensure that the covers continue to provide effective protection against moisture and other environmental hazards. Here are some additional tips for installing and using in-use covers. Firstly, always disconnect power to the receptacle before installing or removing an in-use cover. This will prevent the risk of electrical shock. Secondly, follow the manufacturer's instructions carefully when installing in-use covers. Ensure that all mounting hardware is properly tightened and that the cover is securely attached to the receptacle. Thirdly, make sure that the in-use cover is properly closed and latched when the receptacle is not in use. This will prevent moisture from entering the receptacle and causing damage or creating a safety hazard. Fourthly, avoid using excessive force when opening or closing in-use covers. This can damage the cover or the receptacle. Fifthly, periodically inspect the in-use cover for any signs of damage or wear. Replace the cover if it is cracked, broken, or otherwise damaged. Sixthly, clean in-use covers regularly to remove any dirt, debris, or other contaminants. This will help to maintain their appearance and performance. Seventhly, consider using tamper-resistant in-use covers in areas where children or unauthorized individuals may have access to the receptacles. Tamper-resistant covers provide an extra layer of protection against electrical shock and other hazards. Eighthly, if you are unsure about how to install or use in-use covers, consult with a licensed electrician. A qualified electrician can provide expert guidance and ensure that the covers are installed properly. In addition to the in-use covers, there are other types of weatherproof enclosures that can be used to protect receptacles in wet locations. These enclosures typically consist of a box or housing that encloses the receptacle and provides a watertight seal. Weatherproof enclosures are often used for receptacles that are located outdoors or in other harsh environments. When selecting weatherproof enclosures, it is important to choose enclosures that are properly rated for the intended use. Weatherproof enclosures are typically rated based on their ability to withstand various environmental conditions such as rain, snow, and ice. Choose enclosures that are rated for the specific conditions in your location. Furthermore, make sure that the weatherproof enclosure is properly grounded. Grounding is essential for protecting against electrical shock and other hazards. The grounding conductor should be properly connected to the enclosure and to the grounding system of the electrical system. Finally, remember to inspect weatherproof enclosures regularly for any signs of damage or wear. Replace any enclosures that are cracked, broken, or otherwise damaged. Proper maintenance will ensure that the enclosures continue to provide effective protection against moisture and other environmental hazards.